Hello and welcome to Focus on Fantasy Romance, episode number 35, a podcast where we discuss books, genre, industry, and our geeky lives. I'm your host, Elle Klaus.
I'm ARD Clerk.
I'm Paulina Woods.
Is Ish going to do anything? Ishabelle is here and waving, which you can't hear on a podcast. So we're going to start with news because this is a topic-based episode. So what have I done in the last month? Not much. I finished that Write Better Faster course. And this may be, I might be repeating myself, but I finished that course. It was a big aha on a lot of things. And I am wrapping up the short story Cost of a Kiss for our Love Through Heartache anthology, which is coming out later this year. And in non-book related news, a tree fell over in my backyard last night. Amy?
Well, the news is, if anybody reads my blog, you'll know I have been in a really crappy mood lately. I haven't wanted to read or write or do anything but complain. As the girls can attest, I have not been a pleasant person to be around, and that continues. I did, however, write some things last night. Book 3 of the Mythical Madness series. I'm having a very frustrating time in my writing career at the moment, but I'm trying to get over the hump. We'll continue to push forward, but I might still be bitchy. In other news, let's see, what else? Oh yeah, I started book 3 of Mythical Madness. The Cyborg series is on hold right now for some Takamo universe scheduling things going on. So while I'm waiting to pick that back up, I will try to finish out that series. And if by the time Mythical Madness is done, then I might do a steampunk to round out that series as well. So that's pretty much my news. Paulina, what about you?
I updated my cover for Beauty and the Beast. I love my new cover. I'm hoping to get the paperback done for that one, just because I like paperbacks. I also got over a funk, I guess you can say, where I wasn't really writing. I'm now writing Broken, which is for the anthology that comes out in November. And I'm also writing The Fall, which hopefully comes out in December, which is my kind of dive into sci-fi fantasy. And yeah, that's about it on the book front. I am training to be a bartender, and hopefully either a bartender where I work or I'm going to be a bartender somewhere else. But God willing, I am going to be a bartender because they make a lot of money. And I can work like 3 days a week and have more time to write. So yeah, that's my news. Ish, you have any news?
Let's see, I went on a cover update spree. I have updated a lot of my covers, re-released a few older books I had just laying around. The new covers have done wonders. They really have. You know, that old saying, don't judge a book by its cover. Well, we do. People do. So, any authors listening, get good covers. It's really that simple. I have finished up Death's Redemption, which is my Egyptian cursed time travel / bad gods kind of thing. It fits along the lines of To Wish Upon a Roman. I have started book 2 in my Rabid series, which is my zombie apocalypse romance. Other than that, non-book related, my husband wants to pack up, sell everything, and retire in Florida, so I'm kind of happy for that. And that's about it for me.
Okay, so this week we have not a book chat. I've put whiskey in my coffee, so I might not be very good at talking. We're talking about book covers. This topic came up because of an article that Amy found regarding a cover model. And Amy can kind of give us a quick summary of the article, which I'll provide the link in the show notes, and then we'll get chatting from there. Amy?
Okay, so the article is from the New York Times, and I believe that it was from March of 2016, but is still quite relevant to what we're going to discuss about covers. Basically, it started out telling the story of a cover model who, well, actually, he didn't start out being a cover model. He was just a guy who had some photos taken, and they were posted on a stock site. And he started getting all these strange messages on his Twitter and his Instagram about how much they loved him, and they kept calling him this character's name, and he had no idea what was going on, and he wasn't even from the United States at the time. So he finally managed to get a copy of the book that everybody was talking about and get in contact with the author, and came to the United States, did book signings, and the article goes on to just talk about, you know, the success of that. Then the article flipped to talk about the end of that, which is that sometimes people who sell their photographs to stock sites do not anticipate how they will be used, especially on book covers. And this is especially true like erotica series, because the models are not expecting that their images will be used so provocatively, because we can do so much with photo manipulation nowadays, and Ish could tell you all the ins and outs of that as far as what Photoshop can and can't do. But the fact of the matter is there have been instances where models have piped up and said, I don't want my image associated with, you know, whatever branding or you know, whatever topic this book is about. So we had talked about a little bit in our group chat about covers, and we've all been kind of on a lately. Paulina bought some new covers. Ish was redoing her covers. Elle has covers. And I'm a huge cover snob, and I love them. So I like to just troll pre-made cover sites just to look at stuff, even though I'm not going to buy anything. And so we had gotten to talking about the cover model and stock photo. And one of the topics that we brought up was, and we can all discuss this topic if you guys want, but how do you feel about the same stock photo face, person, couple being used on multiple covers, whether it's by the same author, because it came up two different ways when I brought this up on Facebook to kind of get some reader reaction. How do you feel about it on, you know, multiple covers by the same author versus lots of different covers by lots of different authors? So I guess we'll probably talk about that first, and I'll say that it bothers me. I don't like it, and I think it's boring. But I also know the flip side of it, which is there's not a whole lot of stock to choose from in certain cases, especially if you're writing people of color or other nationalities other than white. If you're writing someone, God forbid, who has a disability, you're going to have to Photoshop that in because you're not going to find stock to fit. So there are some things that hold us back from being able to, you know, to always be original. But I want the authors to, or have their cover artists do something different. Even if it's the same photo, there's so many options to manipulate photos nowadays. It shouldn't look like everybody else's, even if it's the same base stock photo. So that's my opinion on the matter, and then I'll let you guys kind of chime in and say what you think.
So I can go first if no one minds. When I was first getting into writing romance, like I said in previous podcasts, I was kind of in denial about my genre. Like I thought I was writing fantasy, but the romance is definitely the focus. So I did notice, I was one of those readers that noticed, like, hey, this is the same person on this cover. This is the same same photo. And someone had to explain to me, you know, a lot of the same cover designers use the same stock photos, and a lot of the photos get put on multiple stock photo sites. So it's going to be very common that you're going to run into the same person on different covers. And I was like, okay, I guess that makes sense. If you were to pay for custom photos, you would have to hire a photographer, which could be a couple $100 to a couple $1,000 depending on the photographer. Hire the model, again, $100 to $1,000. Rent the space if the photographer doesn't have their own studio, which could or could not be the case. Then you have to worry about things like makeup and costumes. And if you write fantasy or sci-fi, the costumes can get kind of elaborate, or the makeup could get kind of elaborate. So yeah, when I was looking at pricing out my own covers, hiring a cover model was just not an option. So we ended up with stealing the wolf prints. We ended up finding some stock photos of someone I'd never seen on a cover before. And we didn't have to do a lot of manipulation of the woman on the cover, but she was cuddling like a dog. It was like a poofy Pomeranian or something like that. So we had to manipulate so that it looked like a wolf on the cover. But as a reader, I didn't understand that. And now that I'm in the industry, I understand that you're going to see more than one of the same person on a cover. Some people do get away with that, having the same. Okay, so the what is it? Rescued by Torden books that we reviewed in a previous podcast. If you look at the series, she uses the exact same photo of some guy's chest and abs, and she just changes the color for each book. And I'm like, well, I guess that's one way to keep your expenses down and kind of brand the series.
I believe Elle froze. Is anybody else seeing that? No? No, I think Elle froze. Let's see, she's coming back. You're back, Elle?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
That was bizarre. My browser just went, oh snap, someone's wrong. And I'm like, well, duh, where's my video?
Yeah, you just froze on us. You're still frozen, and then we see one where you're here.
But you can hear me?
Yes.
Oh, this is bizarre. Okay, so what was the last thing I said?
Before you froze, I can't even remember.
We're talking about Torden and how that's a good way to keep your costs down by using the same photo and changing the color.
Recognition, because it's literally his chin down to his pant line. So yeah, that's one way to do it. Paulina,
yeah, let's Ish. You want to go first? No? Okay, well, I'm not a big fan of people on the cover. I do have 2 books out with people on the cover, but I've shied away from it only because of how active my imagination is, and I don't look at covers as much as other people do, I guess. If I know I'm picking up a romance book, I'll read the back, and then I'll read the book. I don't even really see the cover models because I'm going to make it whatever I want to in my head anyway, and usually it's different than what's on the cover. So I don't really have a problem with people using the same cover model over and over because I don't pay attention. I don't care. I do know that some people do. I know that I had my first book cover was a female that looked more vampire-ish than anything else, and I had about a lot of blowback from that one. So I know people do pay attention to the cover. I had to change the cover because of, you know, just the feedback I was getting on that one. So some people do, some people I don't. But I do know that if you're going to do if you're going to do cover models, one, make sure they at least look like it a little bit. Like if you say that your woman is 18 plus and you know that girl on the cover is like a 0 and you can see her ribs, you can't see my ribs. And so like sometimes that, I've noticed that in one group I'm no longer in, a lot of their covers, it was catered towards, the BBW genre, but on the cover, all the girls were like a size 2 to 3. So, I mean, because again, I don't really care, but I know that it was a big complaint inside of the group that they wanted more models that represented what they were looking at. So it matters. It does, but not to everyone, because yeah.
I've heard, I have a coworker who has said that she doesn't like people on her covers either, and she reads like a wide variety of genres because she just wants symbols and the title on the cover because she doesn't want to be shown what the characters look like. She wants to read what the characters look like. And Amy had mentioned that it's hard to find, people of color or people with a disability. It's also hard to find plus size women stock photos, especially ones that aren't like a fat woman eating or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you know what? We use stuff other than eat food.
Well, I posted the question on my Facebook page to see what other readers and authors who are readers had to say about it. And that was one of the main things, is that they all agreed that your characters, if you're going to put them on the cover, photo person has brown hair, you better be able to have your cover artist, or you better know how to photo manipulate the color of their hair to match whatever the color your character is supposed to be. General description they want, don't say he's a Nordic god and the dude on your cover looks Italian. People off, and it doesn't feel like it fits right. And the other thing is they feel like your cover needs to be striking or something that you can easily, when it's the thumbnail size. The things that a couple of people talked about was like aspect ratio. So like they're shrinking down the people on the covers so that they can fit more words on there. But when you look at that on Kindle as you're scrolling, it messes up. It makes it harder for you to see what's on there. So that was the other thing they complained about. And a lot of people actually said they don't look at the cover that much, which I find hard to believe, but maybe it's just me because I like covers. But a lot, I would say probably 6 out of the about I got said that they don't care either way because the cover isn't what makes them buy the book. So that was kind of where the reader group was sitting.
Well, you said that they wanted something that was striking. I think that the initial wow factor of the cover is what gets people to stop browsing or stop scrolling, and then they move on to the blurb or the inside peek. But yeah, a striking cover, I think, something that really draws your eye to the book is what is needed.
The other thing is that they want it to accurately represent the genre of the book to the best of your ability. So it's pretty easy if you're going to write a romance and everybody complains about man titty and man ab, but if you slap it up there, it's pretty hard for anybody looking at it to not go, oh, that's a romance, like immediately. If you do man titty and a planet, you've got SFR, like it's right there. Like, so I don't think that it's, necessarily a bad thing to kind of have some tropes in covers the way you have tropes in stories. But I prefer a little bit of originality. I like something striking. I like the other huge thing, and Ish can chime in here because she's a cover designer, is readable fonts. people are over the curly whirly swirlies that you can't read. They want to be able to read the title and read the author's name clearly and easily without having to sit there and go, is that an S or an E or an R? Like, because it's too swirly or curly. So those were the main things they said. Ish, did you have anything you wanted to input there?
Let's see. I like seeing the same model over and over. I love it. I would smack Fabio on every cover if I could. I mean, there are certain models that, yeah, no, I don't mind looking. No, I don't care. Put it on horror. I'll still buy it. But I think when we get a new cover model, what happens is everybody runs to them. Everybody. So all of a sudden you've got a slew of new releases, of old releases getting updates, and everybody's got the same model. And after a while you see that same model and you're just like, oh, well, have I looked at that book already? You don't know anymore. So I don't think it's necessarily people get tired of the same model on books. I think what happens is, like I said, a new model comes out and everybody's got them. Everybody. And we're in the author community, so we see everybody's new covers before readers even do most of the time. You know, we get to see this new model all the time before readers do. So to us especially, we're like, oh, God, that guy again? But it's not really that case for a lot of readers. They're not in our community. You know, the odds are that they're going to scroll down, you know, fantasy romance and see the same model on 2 or 3 covers in a row is pretty much non-existent. So, you know, and if they didn't like the book or didn't buy a book with this model, they're not going to remember seeing them anyway. You know, it's really that simple. As for stock photo, and this is why models got it good when you got a fresh model out too, because you're right, the stock photos, it's hard to find colored, you know. You know, the heck I had to go through to find anything Egyptian? It's crazy. It's ridiculous. Disabilities, you know, chubby women, chubby men, they're all insulting when you try to put in there, you know, voluptuous woman and you've got, you know, a nice sized woman stuffing her face with a ho-ho. It's degrading. You can't put that on your book. You know, so stock photos are very limited and it is up to the artist to do what they can, but you can only do so much with the base. You really can. You can't change everything because then what's the point of having the stock? So it's really all I've got to say about that.
I will say when I was with my cover designer, I like to pick out the cover stock myself. And so when I'm browsing through, if I've seen a cover model on a cover 1.5 million times, I will pass and keep looking until I can find something that's a little less common. I still have, like, my Besotted cover. The couple on there has been seen quite a bit, but it's in such a way that it's a common pose, and if you really look, you're like, oh, it's that couple from, you know, this photo shoot that has like 50 photos from this one photo shoot. But there's also a lot going on the cover that you're like, you know, the genre, you know that it's romance, and it's like, as a whole package, it's unique, but it's not like, if you really, really stare at it and analyze it, you're like, oh, this is the same photo. And that's something I wanted to talk about, was if you've ever experienced a reader saying, hey, this person stole your cover, and I'm saying this in air quotes if you're not watching, this person stole your cover, and what's actually happened is the cover designer used the same stock photo. Has anyone like seen this on Facebook or had someone approach you and say, hey, someone stole your cover, when it was just the same stock photo?
It hasn't happened to me, but I have seen another author's post where she said, I got an email from a reader today that said, so-and-so author has the same cover as you. And then author who was posting went to other authors' you know, Amazon page, and the covers were similar. Just exactly the same, like same font, same titling, same everything. The coloring was different, and obviously the title and the author's name were different, but everything else was the same. And there was a whole slew of reaction to it. It was, you know, did you use the same cover artist, all the way down to, you know, you should sue her type thing. So you know, it goes there. Then I have seen cover designers flipping out a little bit because another cover designer created a cover that was very similar to one that they created. So I have seen it from both ways. My own covers personally, no, they're all pretty, I mean, like Desolation's pretty standard. The lady that's the chick that's on Providence, she's on like 75 other covers. They just changed the color of her dress. Like, and it's, if you've ever seen it, you'll know the one I'm talking about. She has long blonde hair. She's got her hand on her hip and she's like looking over her shoulder, and she's got a ball gown on. Basically, it's on like a ton of different covers in a ton of different ways, in a ton of different colors. But, you know, she fit my cover, and I mean, they don't have a flying pirate ship on theirs, so I think I'm pretty good. But no, not, I haven't had anybody personally. What about you guys?
No, I haven't, but I will say that the cover design of the woman in the dress with her back facing, you know, the reader with a long flowy dress, that is very, very common, like that design. Especially in, I think, YA with a female protagonist. Like, I see a lot of those covers. And in urban fantasy, if you've got a female lead, it's a lot of like this woman kind of walking towards the screen, and she's got like, I don't know, glowing hands, or she's casting a spell with like really neon electric colors. Very striking, but I think I'm ready for the next trend in covers because they all kind of run into the same.
They do, and I've done what Paulina had said earlier. I've looked at a whole bunch of urban fantasy covers, and I've been like, have I read that already? Like, that really looks like, maybe, I swear to God, I've read that. Like, that looks so familiar. And then literally I won't buy it because I'm not sure if I've read it already or not. And I really don't have time to like flip through my Kindle and see if I've got it. So yeah, so that happens to me a lot.
So did we want to talk about the prevalence of like author signing events where they bring the cover models to the signing event, and it either creates a distraction or they get more attention than the authors themselves? Paulina has something to say.
I think it's the innocence, peanut butter and jelly to bring cover artists to an event. Not because I don't like them, but because it seems to be, events seem to be turning away from the fact that it's authors, it's focused on authors and their art, and it's turning into a popularity, what cover artist did I bring with me? I've gone to one that didn't have a cover artist at all. I mean, didn't have one at all, a cover model, sorry. And that one was more, you know, the readers came in, we were all talking, we hung out. I went to two that had cover models, and it's total different. I had one where the cover model was next to me, like my table was here, the author was here, and she had a cover model, and traffic just seemed to like stop. Like, right, you know what I mean? Like, it just got congested right there, which, whatever. I mean, I'm happy for her. But it just seemed to me that it doesn't benefit other authors at the signing event because of the fact that we're women in the story, and romance readers are horny women. And so if they see a guy, and most cover models, they have like the really tight shirts on and really amazing, they're going to stand in line to get those pictures. And if there's 4 or 5 cover models, which is good, I guess, then where does that leave the authors who paid a lot of money for their tables? and paid a lot of money for their stock and for their everything, and all of a sudden now they're just kind of looking at everybody go towards a person who basically just stands on a cover and smiles or doesn't smile or whatever he's doing on his cover. You kind of see it a lot more too if you look at a lot of the, what is it called? Like the advertisings that are going up now for the book signing that's going to be in 2018. It no longer says like, you know, best-selling author so-and-so is going to be there. The most prevalent thing is this is a cover model who's going to show up, and you're kind of going, but what about the authors who wrote the books the cover models are on? I don't know. But it's not just book world. Sorry, I know I'm talking a lot. I'll be done in a minute. I know it's not just the big book world who's doing this, because my sister's a small vendor in a small world too. She makes clothing, and she's seen it at her vending event that she couldn't attend because the fact that everything seems to be going the way, not the people who make the product, but like a small insignificant group of that group, if that makes sense. And maybe they should have a cover model convention, you know, let all the women show up and just take pictures of the cover models. It'd be perfect.
Well, I would say, like, if the event is specific for author signing, I can understand not wanting the cover models there because it would be distracting. But if it was like a romance convention, like I've not been to the RWA convention, but they have events for authors. They have events for, you know, everyone in the industry is there. So the readers, the writers, the editors, publishing houses, you know, everybody's there. So I can understand the cover models being there. I think Period Images, which is a stock photo site that features a lot of historical photos, which are hard to find on standard stock photo sites, they had a presence there, and I totally understand that. But like, if you have like a separately run author signing event, bringing someone like a cover model, I can see how that would be disruptive. But
or just separate it, if that makes any sense. Have like, this is an area where cover models are gonna be, you know, like it's not segregating like some people probably, well, you're separating. It's kind of making it, when you go into a store, you're gonna find everything in a place. It would make it flow better. I was at the receiving end of basically traffic stopping. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna call complete bullshit on you guys. A cover model, a successful cover model on top of it all, is business. If you had the money or you managed to get, you know, I'm just going to use Fabio because once again everybody knows Fabio. You managed to get Fabio on the cover of your book, and suddenly, you know, you've got people buying thousands and thousands of your books because, hey, Fabio got that to you. You'd be a fucking fool to tell Fabio, you know, there's so many authors here, and I don't want the other authors to get upset because you're here and people will be paying attention to you and not them. You're stupid. I'm sorry. It's business. It is.
yeah, I agree with you.
It is product. It is business. It is branding. You know, if you use, say, Fabio for every last cover, and that's what you get famous for, and he gets famous for it too, it's like having Simon with Garfunkel. It's just not going to happen. You can't do that. And I'm sorry for other authors who may not be in that same boat, because yeah, I'm sure it's going to be upsetting, but that's like saying, well, you know what, Amy, you can't promote on KDP this month because I can't afford to either. Well, I mean, it's kind of the same thing.
I kind of in the boat where I bought, like, for The Alchemist's Kiss and Enchanter's Embrace, because Elle happened to mention Period Images. The cover photos for both of those books came from Period Images. If the guy who is cast in my head and on the cover of my book as Icarus Kane happened to wander over to my table while I'm signing and brought with him a bevy of people who are like, oh, he's also on this book cover, then I'd be like, hang out here with me, guy, a little while longer. Stay with me. Come to me. Bring on the friends you do.
Exactly, and that's the business part of it. Yeah, you're not going to say, you know what, it's not fair that you're over here and over there, you should just leave. No, it's branding, it's business. It really is.
You know, if Oprah goes on and she says, I really love your book, and then Oprah shows up at your book signing to, you know, to say, hey, everybody, people can't get mad that Oprah's there to promote your book because Oprah likes your book, or Oprah, you know, you've got the stamp of approval on the front cover, or whatever be the case. Yeah, I see it as an advertising thing too. I see it, well, we're the poor authors who don't have that. So I see it from that area too. I see it from that side, which is, I don't have a famous cover model on any of my books. If I had my choice, I don't even want humans. Does that sound bad? I want digital art. I would prefer to have digital art or digitally manipulated photos. But I'm not rich and I can't afford that.
Okay. Well, let's expand that though. You want digital art, right? You know, you want the fancy schmancy and you can't afford that. Okay, so you strike the lottery and you get all this fancy digital art and your cover designer is top notch, you know, whatever.
I would totally have Paulina come and sit next to me.
Well, exactly. Are you going to say, you know what, it's not fair to the other artists who had crappy cover artists like, you know, Ishabelle? You know, so you're going to have to stay home. It's the same thing. See what I'm saying there? It's business. It's product. It's advertising. Why would you not advertise?
I see that.
It is advertising. I understand that. It's a good thing to have. I think it should be separated. Only for the simple fact of if you've ever been to these conventions, ever been to any of the conventions, it's congested and people don't come through. And it's to the point where, look at pictures from the conventions. It's congested and it's just whatever. But it's also, I'm not saying you can't have them. I just think it should be separated.
Okay, so they separate from now on. You can't bring a cover model and an author convention together. Does that mean an author can't go to a cover model convention because you might be recognized and you had that model on your cover at one point?
Or separate them at the same convention. Why couldn't they do that?
Why would you go to a convention if you have to go to the boys' side? Oh my God, it's like 7th grade dance. Boys over here, girls over here. Oh,
I think Paulina's point is the congestion needs to be handled better. Sorry.
The what?
If you separate them, the authors are just going to be mad because the crowd is over at the cover model side. It's not going to change how the crowd.
My whole thing is what Elle just said, is the congestion, is the fact that at one point, like literally, if everyone's there, let's say that you're next to a table that has 2 cover models. At one point, your table's covered. So then you're sitting there and you're just like, no one can get through to your table because you're just in that bubble of crowd. At one fair, isn't it?
Okay, so what happens if you're sitting next to Virginia Henley, who's another author, mind you, and you can't, you know, have nobody come to your table because her table's congested as fuck? Are you going to be mad at Virginia Henley because she shouldn't be there because, you know, she's blocking your traffic? Well, no, you can't. You know, it doesn't matter. You can't control the crowd that's going to come for either or. So
you have to find a way to control it.
Yeah. Okay, so they only sell so many tickets and allow so many people into the place at once. Guess what's going to happen? People aren't going to waste their fucking time.
Well, I will say that
it's a convention, not the fucking hop.
Okay, well, we need to wrap this up because some of us have things. I will say that there are fire codes that they shouldn't be allowing just an indiscriminate amount of people in the locations. So if that is exceeded, that's another issue because that's a safety risk. I'm not sure about author signings, but definitely for Comic-Cons, like the Grand Rapids Comic-Con last year, They had vendors there that had nothing to do with comics. And the location, the people that were putting on the event, the people that were selling those spots, they didn't care who they sold the spot to, just that they sold the spot because they wanted to make back the money that they spent to host the event. So we're at the Grand Rapids Comic-Con, and there was some exotic pet display thing where I got to hold this little thing called a sugar glider. Freaking cute. Nothing to do with comics. So yeah, a lot of it boils down to business as usual. Like the author or the facility, they want to make a profit. Did anyone else have any closing remarks? I'm going to take your silence as no. Okay. Well, if you have any comments about the topic, please stop by the website, which is focusonfantasyromance.wordpress.com, and leave a comment. We love comments. Thank you for joining us. If you like the podcast, please like, comment, and share. This has been episode number 35. Good night.
Good night.